Kaizer Chiefs have just lost their first leg of the first round of the CAF Confederations Cup, and now they have to come back to SA, score 2 goals without a reply from their opponents. This is how this thing works. If Kaizer Chiefs ends up winning the game and they concede a goal at home, let's say they win the game 3-2, they're out because then the score will be 3-3. If they come back home, they win the game 2-1, they're out because it's 2-2 and would have conceded a goal at home and Kabuscorp did not concede. So Chiefs would really have to be good defensively next week, but at the same time be very good offensively to make sure that they score those goals, because 1-0 sends us to extra time. Wait, I think it's straight to penalties, but don't correct my comment section. The point is, we need to score 2 goals and win so that we are, into the next round. But what actually happened in this game, because I can tell you now, all of us know that Nabi was not in charge. Nabi had no say in this game. Nabi and Chiefs have fallen out. So I know there are some people who I saw already on Twitter, someone was saying, oh, find us a new coach. I can see Nabi still coaching this team. It's funny that people are still blaming Nabi for this loss, while the club themselves have released a statement saying that he's not traveling with the club, which means he's not involved with anything that is happening with the club right now. When he was with his family, people were saying, oh yeah, Nabi should stay there because we lose if he's not there, if he's there, but we win if he's not there. But at that time, he still had something to do, and Abokaze did say that he had something to do with it. Now he has nothing to do with it, and we still lost. So then the question is, were you geniuses right about saying that Nabi is the problem at Chiefs, or is it just the fact that the team had its own problems that it needed to fix under Nabi, under the assistant coaches? Because people were making them seem like they are Guardiola mixed with Mourinho, mixed with Sir Alex Ferguson, geniuses that have never been seen. And I don't want to sit here and laugh and say, your favorite coach is lost, because then I wouldn't be a Kaizer Chiefs fan. But we lost even with the coaches that people wanted. And if you look at the preferences, if you look at the status for the coaches that people wanted, they are almost identical to what Nabi did on Tuesday. The only difference was Ele was benched, played today, which was benched on Tuesday, but it was benched because it was being saved for this game. And Ukunika, they corrected that because they saw that Frosler was going to be a liability on the right, so they didn't play him in the first half. And by the way, that does not take a genius. Even I said it yesterday that Frosler might start as a right back, but if they are going for defensive solidity, they will start with Kunika, which they did. This game needed Umteto a lot because he was destroying and intercepting a lot of balls, which he did very well. And that also today freed up Ucele to go up and just combine and play. He even took a shot today. I'm so proud of him because he usually doesn't do that. But the issue still remains. There are still some aspects of our game that need to improve. For example, on Tuesday, we lost a game because they targeted Umarco for the first goal. And then, the first goal was the main one where they targeted Umarco. But even throughout the game, we saw that they were trying to go down Marco's side with aerial balls. Even today, with the corner, with the goal that they scored, the ball was played as a cross, an in-swinging cross. And what happened? They targeted the side of McCarthy and cross. And what happened? The goal was conceded, which once again says to people who said cross sucks, but cross at least aerially is not that bad. Umarco, it's not his fault that he's short. But in African competitions, sometimes you just need taller players or players who are better suited in competing aerially. That does not mean now Marco sucks. It just means in the next game, he's likely not going to play. But since it doesn't fit people's agendas because they decided that cross is bad, they never wanted to see him play, even though he started the season well. There are double standards here. People didn't complain about, for example, who was this? Kuneka came on for McCarthy, who had been playing very well, and then McCarthy came back, but people complained, why is McCarthy coming back instead of Kuneka? But they didn't say the same thing with Umarco because he came in for Cross who had not done anything wrong. and he's taken that position. And I know it's because the coaches see him as a left center back, but he's played that position much better. And speaking of Marco seems to struggle playing as that floating 10. I will do the analysis on the cutback where I show you what I'm even talking about. He sort of plays like, if you have Mtutuzi as a 10, he plays right next to him. He doesn't stay wide as, the traditional, well, not even traditional, modern overlapping fullbacks. He doesn't stay wide. It's Modi who stays wide. But he tucks inside to play the ball. He seems lost because it feels like he prefers to be outside, get the ball, cross it into the box. And that limitation of him playing as a floating 10, kind of limiting in a way because in tight spaces, he's not as good as Ukros, which is what Ukros was doing when he was playing, because you could see him get on the ball and play. And speaking of the left-hand side, Umodi today was not on the game. And I did say it in the yesterday's video that he is on his last chances. And with Ukhanyisa Mayo about to be ready, and as we know, the coaches, I don't think they will force and try to start him yet. But it's getting to that point where they are like, nah, man, we have to play Ulilep on the left and play someone else on that right wing, because it's chance after chance for Modi. And he did miss a chance that he should have scored. But besides that, getting on the ball, he doesn't look confident. And I don't like being harsh on players, because you are harsh on players. We found out, you remember last time when he played that I think it was his first year at Chiefs, his performances wasn't that good and people were like, oh, Modi sucks. And then we found out that his mother had died. So we don't know what players are going through. So what we do know, though, is that the performance was not great and he probably needs a rest, and then someone else can come in while he's sorting out whatever that is bothering him with his performance. And also the tactic, the approach, Umfundo Shabalala was right next to Flavio Silva, playing the same role that Sereno basically played on Tuesday, which to me says that not to me, Vele, the approach did not change that much. Because he did not look like the Mtutuzi who played on Tuesday, second half, because he came in and he was finding these pockets of spaces. He was dropping, finding space, getting the ball, connecting, playing here and there. But today, he just didn't look, good, right? Even Sereno looked like he had more movement when he came on in the game, which is the same thing that I said to you guys yesterday, that we have a problem whereby Sereno cannot start a game, Mtutuzi cannot start a game. So that means we basically don't have a starter who is a 10, because Nkosimpile Ngobo, that constant movement and finding space seems to be a thing that is tiring to him. That's why they now play him as an 8. So if you look at Usireno when he came on, he was the one who looked like he brought life, which is weird because again, against Sekukune, he wasn't doing that. It just means both of them are good as super subs. But another limitation that Chiefs had is the fact that they had Kunika today, and he wasn't doing much of even running into the half space, because usually Munyane, Ulilep would stay wide on the line, and then there would be a space between, the left back and the left center back, and then Munyane tries to exploit that space. But since we're kind of careful, so Kweneka was staying at the back as part of a back three. So numerically, when we went forward, we did not have enough numbers, and just things ended up not happening. And what we ended up doing most of the times was trying sometimes to go direct, and not necessarily aerial balls, but sometimes Aiden McCarthy, who lost a few balls as well, trying to play those line-breaking passes, which is something that I said about Utotli. That my other thing about Utotli, when he was still fit playing last season, I was like, these line-breaking passes, they are high risk, high reward. But you see now, there's risk and then there's reward. So why not just minimize risk and just play short passes? Play the simplest pass that you can play. And since today, they were trying to do this. What people think is that at FNB, it will be easier. They will be more patient. But fans will not be patient with them. They will be forcing them to be more direct. And remember, now there's pressure. They're one goal down. So fans will be wanting them to go in and score as quickly as possible, which means that approach of trying to play those passes from deep, like playing a pass from the other side of the half and try to find Umtu in the half space closer to the goal, they will be trying to do that, which might leave us exposed, and it's just a scary thought to have. And I would be lying if I said McCarthy had a good game in terms of what he was trying to do, but he did not have a horrible game. It just wasn't great either. And I also want to say that Silva did not get any supply, and when he did get on the ball, it just wasn't clicking. And this is why I'm taking this. This is what you get if you start changing coaches right in the middle of the season. Because say whatever you say, fans might say that, oh, Chiefs plays better with the two assistants on the bench. But the players know the truth. They know that the assistant coaches, which is Kaizer and Khalil Ben Youssef, are just that, assistants. They have knowledge in football and they know all of those things. But ultimately, when Nabi was there, he was the guy who took the sword. If we lost, it's Nabi's fault because ultimately the decision was his. Now, it's two people and the players are like, okay, we know what Kaizer is saying, we know what Khalil is saying. Yeah, maybe that's good, but like today, let me make an example. It was the first time that I watched Ulilepo. He was bad even on Tuesday. But today what made it worse is the fact that he wasn't hacking the touchline. He was tucking in more. So he wasn't giving himself enough time on the ball, because that extra meter, like staying on the line, literally means be on the line, be walking on the line so that you stretch the field to the maximum. He wasn't doing that today. And I wonder why. So these things that people think are not important, the small details, Lilepo be as wide as possible, because that's going to create a space for Mfundo. It happened on Tuesday. That's how he scored our goal. Sereno was as wide as possible after he had rotated with Lilepo, and it created space and it created a goal. We did not see anything from Silva today. So I'm just saying that I'm not saying the ultimately the loss is on the two coaches, but I'm saying ultimately the loss is on the instability in the team. Maybe with them coming back and playing a game on the 24th and preparing for the game on the 27th, maybe, just maybe, they will get better and they will get the instructions, because the two coaches, Khalil and Kaizer, will also try to stamp their authority and change some things so that it aligns more with what they want. Because remember, at the end of the day, some of the things they were doing while Nabi was there, they were limited by what Nabi is going to say. So maybe now they are going to change things. How? I do not know. We're just going to see how they perform. And there will definitely be some changes. And probably we'll see Abonkosi Mpile Ngcobo next week, because Abomthetwa, they will be benched, because probably the team will try to sit deep. But I won't be surprised if he plays again, because the team will try to sit deep and he chiefs on counters. But they might not, because I looked at the team, how they perform, how they keep the ball, how they rotate it. They look like a well-drilled team. Just because you don't know their name, that does not mean they are not well-drilled. They are just like Chiefs in terms of last year. They finished 9th in their league and they won their domestic FA Cup just like us. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting second leg, and people are going to lose their mind and they're not going to view this video because they're angry that the team lost. But anyways, what did you guys think of the game? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.